Back in 1992, which is before some of you were born, and after some of you others retired. Back in 1992, a man by the name of John Gottman at the University of Washington published his definitive work about marital stability. And what he found after researching for 15 years, hundreds and hundreds of couples, what he found about marital stability, that there were 4 factors that he could look at that allowed him with 95% accuracy, which is totally amazing in itself, he could determine, looking at those 4 factors, whether or not that marriage would end in divorce. And today, those same factors are now expanded beyond the relationship between spouses and actually apply to every relationship that exists. The relationship between 2 people, the relationship between 2 organizations, the relationship between 2 nations. If these 4 factors exist, it does not bode well for the continuance of that relationship. John Gottman called them the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. The first one is criticism, telling the other person his or her faults. Like, how ridiculous that you say that. How thoughtless you were. How impetuous you were. You always or you never. This kind of criticism is number 1. Number 2 is defensiveness, reacting to certain subjects by denying responsibility. I personally know a person, this is for real, who after his 4th citation for not wearing a seatbelt said it wasn't his fault. He said it was a stupid law, and the lawmakers that made the law were stupid, and therefore he didn't have to lower himself to their stupid standards, and it wasn't his fault that he kept getting the tickets. I'm not kidding you. Number 3 is contempt, making sarcastic or cutting remarks about the others. When one person talks stink about another, when one person denigrates another, when one person makes cracks about another, John Gottman said this one factor is the most corrosive of them all. Because sometimes you think, oh, he's just teasing, or she's just teasing, or she didn't really mean that. But in the meantime, they're going around saying really horrible things, either to your face or not even in your presence. This one factor is the most corrosive. And the 4th one is withdrawal or stonewalling, when you finally just don't care anymore. Now, one of the relationships that we're in fact, our primary relationship is with ourselves. And we can stonewall ourselves. Yeah, I know I said I was going to do that, but I don't care. I'm not going to do it. Or I said I wasn't going to eat that, and I don't care. I'm going to eat it anyway. These 4 factors are all fed from fear. They're fed from fear. Well, finally, in John Gottman's research, he started to look at life from a different perspective. He started looking at, well, if these are the ones that bring dissolution to a relationship, what are the factors that keep them together? And he thought, well, maybe he could make a trinity or something really holy sounding, because the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse don't sound so positive. But he actually narrowed it down to this one thing. One person in the relationship was willing to be influenced by the other. And what that tells me is one person in the relationship was open to a new idea. One person in the relationship was open to change. One person in the relationship was open to transformation. One person. It didn't have to be 2. It only had to be one person in the relationship in order for the relationship to thrive, in order for the relationship to blossom, in order for the relationship to emerge into its next best phase. The 4 horsemen are fed by fear, but the one about being open, the factor about being open to transformation, is a reflection of our deep love. It's a reflection of our desire to express that deep love in the world. Jesus' teachings taught us how to shift from fear to love. They taught us how to shift from lack to abundance. They taught us how to shift from the darkness to the light. They taught us how to shift from judgment to appreciation. And this is where appreciation leads us. It leads us to harmonious relationships. When there's something, even if it's only one thing in the relationship that's good, and we apply the principle of expansion, then that one thing, whether it's in them or in us, gets bigger and creates more harmony. The second thing is greater life satisfaction. Whether it be in our job, whether it be as a parent, or whether it be as a citizen of our community. There's a young man who comes to this spiritual community. His name is Cooper. Cooper Poteet is 9 years old. And Cooper garnered over 700 pairs of socks for the homeless. 700. Let me tell you, he's a pretty self-satisfied little boy. That's what it takes. The third one is more personal joy. When someone appreciates me, I feel happy. When I appreciate me, I feel happy. When I appreciate myself for what I've done or my way of being, I feel happy. And when I appreciate somebody else, if that person is open to receiving appreciation, that person's personal joy gets bigger. I can tell because the color comes into their cheeks. I can tell because their eyes soften. And I can tell because around their mouth that smile begins to bloom. And then finally, with appreciation, appreciation leads to the emergence of justice. Martin Luther King Jr., that great visionary, that preacher of peace, that advocate of equality, whose life we are celebrating with a national holiday this weekend. Martin Luther King in 1973 in his I Have a Dream speech said, "We are on the warm threshold of the palace of justice." I thought it just melted right around me, kind of like I am a beloved expression of God. It's that same kind of melting. It resonated so warmly with me. And then I started to think, well, what is the palace of justice? And what is justice? Is justice a system of equality? Is justice a way to say what's right and what's wrong? Is justice retributive? We have a ripe history of retributive justice. If you just start thinking about statements you've heard, you may have heard, well, they have been brought to justice. Justice has been served. And they are getting their just desserts. Well, in looking and being curious and discovering about justice, there are cultures around the world who have different understandings of justice. There are cultures that have an understanding that it's a social contract between people. There are cultures that have the understanding that it's a governance system. There are cultures that have many, many different philosophical understandings of justice, but the common denominator through them all, that common thread that moves through all of those different perspectives of justice, is fairness. How we give and receive and perceive fairness. In 2008, at a study at University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA, the scientists there produced definitive findings that we are hardwired for fairness. So fairness is an intrinsic value that we have. Fairness is our birthright. Fairness is our natural state. It's our natural way of being. So when Martin Luther King Jr. says, we are on the warm threshold of the palace of justice, he goes on to say this, in the process of gaining our rightful place, we must not be guilty of wrongful deeds. Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred. Again and again, we must rise to the majestic heights of meeting physical force with soul force. And I love this. I love this because he is inspired by love. His holy purpose was about inspiring people to live the Christian doctrine of love. He said he was most inspired by Jesus' Sermon on the Mount and how we can put that in our lives and how we can live love and use love as a weapon and not drink from the cup of bitterness and hatred. He called us to love. He said love is the answer to every question. Love is the way that we will overcome any obstacle in our way. Love is our soul force. Unity also teaches about the transformative power of love. Charles Fillmore, our co-founder, says the more we talk about love, the stronger it grows in our consciousness. The more we talk about love, it grows in our consciousness. And if we persist in thinking loving thoughts and speaking loving words, we are sure to bring into our experience the feeling of that great love that is beyond description, the very love of God. A woman by the name of May Rowland was the head of Silent Unity, our prayer ministry, for over 50 years. And she said, if you are not attracting the good that you desire in life, learn to express love. Become a radiating center of love. The divine magnet within you will change your whole world. When your heart is filled with love, you will not be critical or irritable, but you will be divinely irresistible. Divinely irresistible. Say that with me, please. I am divinely irresistible. Say it again. I am divinely irresistible. Catherine Ponder, who's been a Unity minister for over 60 years, said, you do not have to search outside yourself for love. You can begin releasing it from within outward through your thoughts, words, actions, and affirmative prayers. Your part is not to wonder how love works, but just to begin releasing it from within. Catherine Ponder's written over a dozen books about prosperity, about the prospering power of love, the prospering power of faith, the prospering power that comes from inside us, that begins radiating and emanating and emerges from inside us. I believe in Catherine Ponder. I find her inspiring. I find it amazing the way she invites people in to this idea that they can overcome anything with love. This is what Martin Luther King Jr. was talking about. This is what he invited us to be in alignment. The principle is this. If you deal in the right way with your own thinking, the people around you will move into right conditions. So in other words, don't control the outer. Don't control what's going on outside you. Work on your own thinking. When we can get our own thinking into that just way, that way of justice, that way of fairness, everything else gets taken care of. Everything else gets taken care of. This is our job. She calls it the super secret method for prayer. It's actually ancient. It's mystical. It's been used for centuries. And this is the practice itself. Think of a person or situation that you're dealing with as having an angel. So think of the person that you're dealing with as having a higher self. Think of the person that you're dealing with as having a spiritual self. And then write that person a letter. Write that, not the person, but the angel. Write the angel a letter. In the activity of writing that letter, in that activity of engaging in this method of prayer, she says, you establish yourself in a harmonious belief. You radiate your harmonious feelings to that person. You don't have to say a word. They're going to get it. They're going to get it because your vibration has changed. You're holding now the high watch. And the third thing she says, you bring alive in their own angel in their own consciousness. She has a bajillion, maybe like 20, of examples in this book. And I'll just read you a few because they're so powerful. After their parents divorced, 2 daughters went to live with their father and new stepmother. For a time, it seemed a sticky situation with tension, resentment, and hostility being expressed. These daughters tearfully reported this unhappy situation to their mother, who lived in another state. Her first reaction was one of helplessness and frustration. Then she remembered the miracle power of the angel writing prayer method and quietly suggested that her daughters use it. As they began to write daily to their own angels and to that of their stepmother, the tension and resentment melted away. Words of apology and notes of love were exchanged, followed by hugs and kisses. Happy tears were shed. Later, their mother said, "It's a joy to feel the happiness my daughters are now experiencing with their father and their stepmother." Another one is about prosperity. Even though I'm a professional person, I was living in one room, barely surviving financially. Then I read about the angel writing method in the Prospering Power of Love, which is this little book, which you can get used for $2 on the internet. I began to write my prosperity angel, asking for its help. Within 2 years, I literally went from rags to riches. Increasing my supply came miraculously through my work and in other ways. Within 3 years from the time I began writing to my prosperity angel, I was able to retire. And then there's a story about a truck dealership who had a truck that got stolen. And so they wrote to the angel of the person who stole the truck and said, "Please allow this truck to be returned to us." And 3 days later, the truck was found. And the only thing that was wrong with it, there was a small dent on the fender, and they said, "So the insurance company is taking care of it, and it's now being returned to us." There was another story of healing where a lady felt like she was overweight, so she wrote to her angel of health and said, "Would you please help me lose weight?" And she lost 20 pounds. This is a true story. There are stories after stories of how this works. I know for me, when I was leaving Unity Church of Hawaii, I was going into the unknown. I had no idea. I was lost. And I was invited to write to my higher self. I never thought of it as writing to my angel, but I had a diary, and every day, every morning, I would get up and say, "I am now happy to be the minister of a church that is by the ocean. I am now happy today that I am the minister of a vibrant community. I am happy today that I am the minister of an incredible, loving community that hasn't known anything but love." I'm telling you, this works, even if you don't know, if you don't call it the super secret method. It works. This is how we overcome. This is how any obstacle that is out there is overcome. It's because we have tuned into the radiating center of our being, to love that lives inside of us, and we allow it to emerge by addressing everything on that higher plane. We can overcome. We shall overcome. Let's sing that together as we get ready for meditation. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe. your prosperity angel, your health angel, your health angel, your angels of harmonious relationships, your angels of justice. Invite those angels, your angels, to touch and hold the hands and connect the whole world together. For it is when we stand as one that true peace expresses and emerges in our lives. With our angels and connected to each other, let us meditate from this place of strength, this place of power, from this place of pure potential. For surely the love that is in our hearts is radiating. It is harmonious and it is lifting the rest of the world to this high, beautiful place. Feel it now in you. What God has joined, let no man put asunder. Father, Mother, birther, and breath of all, create a space inside us and fill it with your presence. Let oneness now prevail. Your one desire then moves through ours as energy fills all forms. Give us this day our physical and spiritual nourishment. Untangle the knots of error that bind us as we release others. Don't let appearances make us forgetful of the source, but free us to act appropriately. From you, age to age, flow the glorious harmonies of life. May these statements be fertile ground from which our future grows. Amen and amen.
God's word Are you feeling it? Are you feeling it? Can I hear an amen? Can I hear another amen? Oh, man. Oh, I love it. Don't put the tissues away. If you got a tissue out, don't put them away yet. Don't put them away yet. This whole overcoming thing, you know, it's a personal journey. I think it's a personal journey for me. Because the biggest personal journey in overcoming really has to do with overcoming the thoughts of lack and limitation and negativity that exists in our minds, don't you think? Especially at this time in our service, when you're talking about taking out the green or taking out the checkbook, and you're thinking, well, what are my thoughts and what are the limitations I hold in my mind about giving? What is that? And how can I overcome that? How can I overcome that and know that there is no lack or limitation in the entire universe? Yeah? This is the opportunity to do that. So as you prepare your gifts, your love offerings, your tithes, let's take a deep breath and say our offering prayer together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is.
I pray you'll be our eyes and watch us where we go, and help us to be wise in times when we don't know. Let this be our prayer when we lose our way. Lead us to a place, guide us with your grace, to a place where we'll be safe.
La luce che tu dai,
I pray we'll find your light
cuore resterà.
and hold it in our hearts.
Ricordarci che
When stars go out each night,
terra stella la mia preghiera.
let this be your prayer.
Fede
When shadows fill our day,
lead us to a place